having coffee. Actually, it's coffee and iced tea with Cindy and Alisa. Back to here. So the question is, what's the advantage of using tarot versus some of our other things like channeling, psychometry, the pendulum? We're going to talk about the pendulum later. What's the advantage? Well, it's multifold. First off, for me, it's confirmation, right? And so a lot of times I'll get it. My client will ask a question, and I'll get a feeling, sensing, knowing. But even after doing this 30 years, my self-confidence sometimes is a little less strong than other times, right? Or sometimes I say, oh, I don't even need to pull a card. This is coming through so strongly. And sometimes not. Sometimes it's like, I think this is what they're telling me. And so using the tarot allows me to have a secondary modality to help with confirmation. Sometimes I'm not getting anything. Client asks a question and I'm like, nothing's coming. So I use the tarot then to stimulate my psychic centers, and it gives me a jumping off point. And so at first I may be just reading the card, which is very vague and not very not very exciting. And then my intuition kicks in. It's like, oh yeah, and this and this and this and this, right? So sometimes I use the tarot to help as a stopping point. Whereas channeling, it's kind of like you have to get in a very specific headspace. You need to be at a very high vibration in order to do so. And sometimes you don't have that accessibility, or you don't have the time to put into answering a question. And also, I feel that it's a trust issue, especially if you're doing it for yourself. If you're reading for yourself, the tarot, it's right there, right? You may find, well, I can interpret that 20 different ways, but it's right there. So it helps that way. Another reason I like tarot over some of the other non-physical, in other words, you don't have it there, is that clients very often, unless they're raised in a strong religious background and have been taught fear of the tarot, which again is a different story, but very often they like to see where you're getting the information from. And so as you use the tarot, they can actually see. They may not know what it means, but they can tell you're not just saying, oh, I think this is it. Because it doesn't matter what Cindy thinks. It matters what Cindy's connection to the divine through the tarot or through channeling or these other options, which work great, by the way. I'm not dissing those, but the question is, why might I choose tarot over those? And so sometimes it's comfort for the client.